Full time in Seattle, LA Galaxy 2, Seattle nil. And this team's got a really unique way of making me look super schizophrenic on a week to week basis, or not even a week to week basis, but 4 days, 3 days. They just make me look nuts. And it's the reason that we love sports. One day they can make you madder than hell, and the next they can make you happier than hell. And today I'm happier than hell. Just a stark turnaround from Kansas City. I thought a much more complete performance, a much better performance, a performance in which we did a lot of the things that I was hoping that we would do in this one, which was sit back, soak up possession, and then hit on the counter. And hit on the counter we did for my favorite scoreline, 2-0. And to the 500 and I think it's 44 of you, crazy. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you getting us to 500 subscribers. It's going to be a great week on the pod. We got a special announcement that you should be in tune for if you were there for the live stream. But let's get into it with my 5 things that we learned watching the LA Galaxy beat Seattle 2-0 at Lumen Field. Starting with lesson number 1, which is Gabriel Pec. I mean, it is so nice to talk about Gabriel Pec in a nice light. And over the last 3 matches, which he's got 4 goals and an assist, this is the Gabriel Pec that we were all hoping and praying would be here this season. The MVP level of Gabriel Pec. And tonight, it was ruthless, it was efficient, and it was damn straight assassin level stuff. The goal and the assist both come off just really 2 impressive runs. The first one set up beautifully by Marco Reus, but more intelligently ran by Gabriel Pec, getting into that striker spot. When Reus is pulling you out, you create that void there between the center backs, and I thought the run was super intelligent. And it put us ahead and let us be in a spot where we could control the match. When the Galaxy lead in matches, obviously, like most teams, they look better. But in particular, Gabriel Pec looks better because it allows us to play off the back foot even more and spring his best attributes, which is running off the ball and running behind defenders, which late in this match, as something that has been void in this team, has been that ruthless killer energy. And Gabriel Pec looked like the sharpest player on the pitch in that last final moment to put the game away. And maybe earlier in the season he takes the shot, but this portion of the season, he looks up, he makes the right decision, just slots it nicely to Nassi, who puts it away. In a very, very feel-good way for the LA Galaxy to get the 2-0 win. And we've talked about it quite a bit on the channel, but this team can go exponentially higher when Gabriel Pec is playing at this level. And over the last 3 games, I think he's played a lot better. And whether this form is just kicking on right at the right time or he's just finally figuring out his form, we've needed it. And to go on this road trip and pick up 6 points has been largely down to Gabriel Pec. So shout out to Gabriel Pec. He is lesson number 1. Now lesson number 2, he is no longer a lesson, but more of just a spotlight in this series. And that's Marco Reus. That first ball is so fucking brilliant. And for anybody who's like, well, he's better as a super sub. You know what Gabriel Pec doesn't do in that situation if he's on the bench? That. Because Marco Reus has the ability when he's on the pitch to create moments of magic. And yes, he's 36. And yes, he doesn't have the legs. But when you platform the team in the right ways around him, and you don't ask him to do the running, and you allow him to pick up the ball a little deeper and spray those passes in behind, we are a hell of a lot more dangerous. And in particular, Marco Reus is a hell of a lot more dangerous. And in this one in particular, I think the stark difference between SKC is we had him playing the false 9, and instead of him being slotted in the 10 in the midfield, you had 3 people behind him that were working. And while Tommy wasn't great today going forward, he did the dirty work for Marco Reus, and that's all you need. Let Marco Reus be your play creator and play finisher, and today that's what he was. Towards the end of the game, we made a couple subs. I didn't necessarily agree with them, but it worked out because you got 60 minutes of productive Marco Reus, and maybe he could have been a little more ruthless with the chance he had in that game. I can't remember what minute that was, but in general, this team's better when he's on the pitch. And for me, the more time you're allowing him on the pitch, the better we are. And he's just so brilliant. I've got no more words to say, so I'll leave it there, with lesson number 2 being Marco Reus, brilliant again. Now let's move on to lesson number 3, which is going to be the center back partnership. I had to do some research here because I asked Andrew and the guys in the group chat, but this is the first time in league play we have seen the back pairing of Glesnes and Hack. And this was straight out of necessity. Garces was hurt. We needed the man. We need the body. But I'm going to make the argument that this is the duo that should be starting every single game from the here on going forward. They're brilliant next to each other. And what stands out on TV, and I don't know if this is in person too, I haven't seen them both play in person, but they are mountains. Like, they're just two massive individuals. And so a good striker in Jordan Morris just was ineffective because he can't go through them. And you don't have to rely on pace of Garces or the intelligence of Yoshida. What you have there is you have intelligence and strength. And Hack and Glesnes look great as a pairing. And going into the season, I know that it was kind of molded as they will play together in a way where Hack's going to be a midfielder. And I never really understood it because the best version of Hack to me is as a left-sided center back where he's able to spray with the field in front of him. And today I think you saw that. He brings a grit, a determination, and a level of IQ and ball progression from that center back spot that makes us very, very good. And a couple times tonight where he just relieved the pressure just a little bit. He was there at the right moments to help out John Nelson. His intelligence is just a little bit higher than Garces. Actually, a little bit is selling him short. It's a lot higher. And next to Glesnes, who is a force multiplier, I've talked about this a bunch, that's your best pairing going forward. And how good did Surreal look tonight in comparison to SKC with just having that level of solidity behind him? And an honorable mention to JT, he was great again tonight. But those three guys, if you can make them your backline pairing and then have JT just come up with a couple of big saves, the Galaxy will be able to get clean sheets. And that's what I've been trying to portray is this team can be good defensively if they want to be. The question is, will they be? And I think with Glesnes and Hack, they can be. And that's where I'm going to leave that point with lesson number 3 being Glesnes and Hack. That's your starting duo from here on forward. Now let's move on to lesson number 4, which is, I have it written down as be who you are. The stat that we read on the podcast was the Galaxy are 4-2-2 when not holding possession. Tonight, I think they finished around 45% possession, which is exactly where I want them to be, which is be who you are. This team is not a possession-based team. They're a team that should soak up possession. Be what your best players are. And their best players are Glesnes and Hack. Lean into those two as your best players. Lean into that level of your spine. And then hit teams where it hurts them the most, which is on the counter. And how many times have we seen other teams do this to us? We hold the ball. We all look lethargic. We don't have the killer pass. But it's one pass and they're in behind us. The Galaxy did that tonight twice. And that's all that needs to happen. Don't be something you're not. And hopefully this is the turning point for Greg Vanney because he did it in SKC and I hate it. Be resolute in the back. If you have to take shots, you have to make a big save, you have to make a big block, so be it. And sometimes you're going to get beat that way. But it's not going to be on high XG chances. The Galaxy aren't getting beat on high XG chances. They are getting beat on high XG chances, but in this game they didn't. And that's the difference. Make the other team beat you. I think early in the year I used an analogy from a manager, I can't remember his name, but it was the idea that there's two ways of playing football, and one is you either play better than your opponent, which is very difficult to do, especially at this level, or you make your opponent play better than you and you beat them at the margins. And that's what we did tonight. Seattle are a better team than us, full stop. They've been a better team all season. They have better players, probably across the pitch and depth-wise, and they have less injuries. But tonight we made them come and beat us, and they weren't able to because Glesnes and Hack were great. JT was great. Nelson looked good. Yamane looked good. And then in the moments where we needed to be ruthless, Gabriel Pec and Marco Royce were. And look, there's still room for improvement. Paintsel looked a little rough tonight. He's looked a little rough. But over the course of the year, the law of averages will tell you eventually he will come good. Same with if Klaus comes back or Nascimento comes back. Like, you give these guys more opportunities off the counter, eventually your XG will match up with the chances that are created. And the goals will come. And maybe tonight, it was only 2-0. And it was a damn good 2-0. But in the future, it could be 3 or 4. Because once the game becomes stretched, the Galaxy become their best team. And they've always been that way. They just before had a little magician that allowed a little bit more. But I'll leave it there with lesson number 4 being be who you are. Now 5-2-2 when holding less than 50% of the ball. Now, finally, let's move on to lesson number 5, which I'll close it with. This team is bipolar, and they're super hard to read. And I've had a hard time reading them all season. And it makes me look schizophrenic because I come on camera here and I give them praise when on Wednesday I could have been punching every player in the face. And this is the issue with the Galaxy. And what will need to change going forward and into the World Cup break is there's no better time than right now for them to figure this out. And can they get a home win against Houston? They're capable. They have the talent. They have the players. But they have to play that level. And ultimately, this is a results-based business. And I'm still Vanney out. I don't want anyone else to try to change my mind there. I'm not going to change my mind. I still think there's a better manager that can get a better tune out of everybody involved. But for the Galaxy to be their best team, they just need to do the things that highlighted the 4 things, which is Pec be good, right? And Paints will be good too. Roy's consistently playing at this level, which he's done all season, so I'm expecting that. Getting to a level of consistency with a backline and a midfield, which we're getting there, right? We're trying to figure that out. The spine is becoming JT Glessness, should be Hack, Surreal, and we'll figure out the rest. And then the final part of the puzzle is winning games consistently, winning them back to back. We still haven't done that this season. And so while I want to be giddy, look, Seattle rotated tonight. So we didn't get the A team Seattle. Who knows what would have happened if they played their A team? But we could have said that about a bunch of teams. And honestly, some other teams could say, well, what if we played the full strength Galaxy side? Which we haven't had all season. So the key for the Galaxy over the next game and then after the World Cup break is finding consistency, being consistent so that I don't look schizophreno, you don't look schizophreno, and they don't look like bums every other game. As a United fan, I saw this with Amarim all the time, where they'd win or they'd draw a match that they shouldn't, and they spaced it out enough where it kept you content. Contempt is not where the Galaxy should be. The Galaxy should be consistent and consistently good, not consistently inconsistent. And that's where I want to see this team be. And so while tonight is a good night, and I am happy, and I will be happy on our next podcast, I'll consistently be schizophrenic if they continue to do this stuff to us. So build from this Galaxy. Build from this Gabriel Pec. Build from this Gregg Vanney. Please, for the love of God, just do us a favor. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you a ton. I'm doing this remote today. As you can see, this isn't my normal setup. But it's been a blast getting to build this community on, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube. It's been great. And like I said, I got a special announcement for our Tuesday night pod at 7. So if you stuck around, be sure to subscribe because that'll be important to our special announcement. But to the 542 of you currently subscribed, thank you very much. I've been Dylan from Clash of Cosmos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.